Yeah, this is a special time of the day at the ashram. It's a time when we gather together as a community and sing bhajans and pray and offer our caring for others through the prayer list. And it's a very significant time. And it's something that's been happening here every evening here at the ashram since 1963. And all the evenings that Swami Radha lived in Vancouver and in Montreal. So she brought this back with her from Rishikesh ashram, from Shivananda's ashram, and it's it's a very, very important part of our personal practice and our community practice. I first came to the ashram such a long time ago in 1977. And I had been searching for answers and searching for something beyond the mind, beyond the sort of a psychological support for a long time. And so I was started to read books about people who went to India and went to uh, spiritual places. And I had read just before came with my husband, just before we came, I had read this book about a woman who went to an ashram. And she described in quite detail the satsang she went to and the position she took at the satsang, which was kneeling and sitting back on her heels. So the very first satsang, and in those days we didn't have this temple. Uh, there was the prayer room, beach prayer room, and that's where our satsangs were. So our little group, there was not too many of us, maybe 8 or 9 in the class. And we were in the beach prayer room, and I took the position that I thought I should take with my sitting on my heels and with my there's a Buddhist statue where the Buddha has his hands like this. So my hands were like this, and I was being very, very receptive and in excruciating pain because I thought that was how I was supposed. I thought I had to be a certain way in satsang. And really all that's required in satsang is an open heart. It took me a little while to learn that, but it's a very quick lesson. And that was a wonderful experience that first time I came here. And I came back home and uh, wanted to have satsangs. And I think we had them occasionally, like a group of us women would come out to the ashram and come home, and then we would have satsangs for a little while, and we'd talk about the workshops that we'd done and keep ourselves lifted up. But it wasn't until I did the YTC, the Yoga Teachers Course, that I really connected with satsang. And when I came home, uh, Swami Radha had just published her book, Kundalini Yoga for the West, the year before. And so we formed a little Kundalini study group and started writing papers and meeting once a week. And afterwards, for half an hour, we would have a satsang. And that was just a wonderful combination. Um, but what happened was the ashram would send me lists of people who had contacted the ashram. And so I would phone them up or, yeah, that's what I did. There was no other way. I write them a letter, I guess, and say, we're having satsang and at this time, would you like to come? And so there was our little group, and then other people would start to come in. And the amazing thing about it was after the first year, it was like this little vortex happened. And it didn't have anything to do with me. It felt like it had to do with Divine Mother and that she was pulling these people in to come and join us in our little satsangs. So that was quite a revelation. And then I was invited by Swami Radha to be in a center, to start a center in Calgary. And those satsangs were really amazing because what I found was that there's people who love hatha. And so a lot of people came to the hatha classes. And then there were people that were really fascinated by Kundalini and dreams, and they came to those classes. But, and all of those people, some of them came to satsang. But then there was this whole other group of people that came to satsang. It was like it had a certain vibration that drew people from all over the place. And I found that over and over and over again in the different centers where I taught, that satsang was like a magnet that brought people in to the teachings in its own way. And very, very precious to see that. And so I would say to people, somebody might be moving away, and I would say, well, why don't you start satsang in your apartment? And they would say, oh, I couldn't do that. I said, yes, you can. You could just invite a couple of friends and have satsang. And this is what I encourage everybody to do. Not everybody is going to stay and live at the ashram, but everybody is carrying the teachings out into the world. Everybody's doing that. It may be a mantra practice, it may be divine light, it may be hatha yoga. But you can all bring satsang into your community. It just sets up such a vibration, and it's so helpful to people. And it's such a wonderful commitment to make. So I really, really encourage everybody to consider that, to consider bringing satsang into your home. Oh, it's so amazing to do it in your home because your whole house starts to have light everywhere. And it works way better than just you doing your practice. Like it brings all kinds of people in, honoring the light and honoring the mantra and honoring that reason to come together, the reason for people to come together in prayer, in seeking to offer light to others. I remember the first time there was satsang in the first temple. It was so amazing because it was manifesting. Swami Radha's dream from when she was very young had been created here. And that temple and this temple are a symbol, not just for us, but for all the people around us. When the first temple burned down, I would go into town and people would say to me, oh my goodness, I miss seeing the temple when I go across the lake. When are you going to rebuild? Or how is the rebuilding going? Even if they don't come here, it has a meaning. It has a meaning that we're here, that we're offering satsang here. It's a very essential duty that we have to give back to others in this way. And it's a blessing. So there's something significant happening tomorrow. Our friend Janie is going to leave us for a time. Would you like to come up and say a few words?
Yeah, so this is my 5th trip here, and this is my first time doing karma yoga.
And I really wanted to come and do a turn wise because I did the YDC 2 years ago, and I really get how special it is and how important it is to support the next group of people that comes through it. And one of the reasons was kind of my journey through the YDC. I had come with, when you do them, write something down and burn it in the fire. I had written down that I wanted to learn how to walk through the next stage of my life with grace. I was pretty much at a stage in my life I knew that I was going to start using people who were significance in my life, and I wanted to understand grief and grace and everything. And
So that's what I asked for from Divine Mother. And in her infinite wisdom, she delivered when I was about right where you are in the what you see, right the way you're feeling right now. I got a message from home that my father's health changed dramatically. And he had been doing well with his cancer, but it suddenly changed. And I had a decision to make. And with the support of my family, I chose to stay in the YDC. And it turned out okay because he went so quickly. I couldn't have got home in time to see him. So I stayed. And I really learned how to walk through that with grace, thanks to the Divine Mother. So, but what I really learned was the support that I had here, this community, this lineage, these teachings, this place just held space for me and allowed me to learn about grief in a completely different way. And so I'm forever grateful of that because I learned about grief and grace and gratitude. So thank you again.
So, speaking about grace, the next part of satsang is prasad, and the Sanskrit word means grace. And so, close your eyes. And I think that Jamie really described the power of grace just now. And think about that power in your life.